Okay, everybody, we're live. Welcome to the Mansfield Buzz. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Mansfield Buzz, Jordan Hurdy in the mix, spotlighting local stories, every episode's a fix, unearthing unique gems, what makes them shine. Tune in, get ready, we're diving into their grind. With Jordan's questions, we reveal what's at the core. Hurdy's tech wizardry, bringing stories to the fore. Together we create, star showcasing what's unique. Mansfield Buzz, where content creation sleek. Calling all business owners and customers to the scene. Discover authentic gems, find the best you've ever seen. Meet the faces behind each unique space. Trust in their stories, find community in this place.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Mansfield Buzz. We are on every Thursday at 2 p.m. We're going to reverse our tires today on the car, and you have two hosts here. You have Jordan Hough, Hurdy Burke, on the left over here. You're right, whatever you're looking at on the screen. And I'm going to be asking our crack advertising guru and agency guy and social media guy and video guy and camera guy and all these questions today about marketing, which I'm truly excited, and we're going to be back with him in a minute. But you guys do me a favor, go over to the YouTube channel. If you're not already there, invite 5 friends. But we are at Mansfield TX Buzz. Just go below and make sure you subscribe, but also hit the thumbs up if you're listening live, and go back when you listen to the archive, do the same thing, hit the thumbs up under it, leave a comment. We love comments. I reply to all of them when they come in. So you're going to have some stuff to comment about today, I'm pretty doggone sure. And then again, everybody gets always confused when I put the two hosts up and I say, look, it's Jordan A. Hough. Where'd your R go? Hang on. Edit. Hang on. Got to do this right. Okay. All right. Here we go. Done. All right. So it happens the best of it. Jordan, last name is pronounced Hough. So everybody, they come in and comment on some of the shows. They go, Jordan who? I said, no, it's not pronounced like who or Hogue. It's Hough. Okay?
I normally get Ho, so I'll take
yeah.
Ho.
So whatever it is, they're not really sure. It's like pronouncing some of these cities in some of these rural towns out in the middle of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? They're named after Indian tribes. Who can pronounce all that stuff, right? So, but anyhow, it's Hough. Just so you guys know that, right? So anyhow, we are working into our second full year as of next week, Jordan, and we're going to have the American Legion podcast on. They're running a big event next week, and we're going to have Tom on next week. And then we have Sand on the following week. And then we have our other roofing inspector. And then after that, Jordan and I are going to kind of let it calm down a little bit. We're going to start a whole new direction for the podcast. So in about 3 weeks, you probably won't see us for a couple of weeks. We're just giving you a heads up right now, and we're going to revamp this thing and make it bigger and better than ever. So, all right, everybody. Jordan, we've got to do, let me do the rewind first here real quick. Let me get in my media assets here, and then we're going to show last week our home inspector, Rockstar Home Inspections. So we'll be right back.
Quick rewind, keep it tight. Highlights prime to ignite. Catch the vibe, feel the rush. Previously on the Mansfield Buzz.
What are the must-fix items, especially when you're going to buy a house?
Good question. I basically inform my clients based on the big 5. You've got your foundation, your roof, HVAC, plumbing, and electrical. Yeah. Those 5 things are your big ticket items. And if there are things wrong with that, it's best to get them addressed before you move in, rather than trying to deal with it after the fact, after you got all your stuff moved in.
Yeah.
But if you've got a report that, you say your HVAC system is at the end of its useful life, or near the end of its useful life, that is something that is a negotiating tool and you can.
All right, guys, I think we got enough of that. But those big five things, Jordan, because it's a little bit longer video, are the major things in homes, and we covered that last week. So we encourage everybody to go back to our channel, watch the full version or the shorts if you like, but watch the full version and listen to a very expert home inspector tell you what you need to look for in your home inspection, which is really cool. And then Jordan, it's your turn, and then we start with your interview, and I can't wait. So I'm excited. So we're going to icebreakers. We'll be right back. All right, Jordan, I didn't write one in here because I was going to let you just pick it out. But since you're on the hot seat today for the interview and talking about the business you're in, I'm sure you've got some stories. So I left the icebreaker blank today. So you want to go ahead and kind of fill us in some sort of story. Come on, anything.
Okay. Let's see. Icebreaker. Okay. So when I first started working in advertising working for Old Navy, that's when I got exposed to like the really, really, really expensive productions for marketing.
Yeah.
So in one of these shoots, we were going to shoot Christmas stuff, and it was the middle of July.
Wow.
And they fly me out to Hollywood, which was nice, right? Like land in LA and taking my Uber to Hollywood to put me in this really nice hotel. And then after that, I put in the address the day of the shoot, and then they take me to this Hollywood studios instead of this giant hangar. And I mean, I've never been to Hollywood studios before, so I don't really know what they look like. So it just looks like we're just some random street, and then there's this giant set of warehouses in this compound. I'm like, okay. And I walk in there. I go through the entrance, whatnot. If my people, okay, it's like, right. So like everybody's inside. I walk through these doors, and this looks like an airplane hangar. I mean, it's this giant building.
Yeah.
I have this big door that I walk through, and when I walk inside, there is like a 40-foot tall image, like picture print of the mountains, snowy mountains. The floor is completely covered in snow, and it is snowing inside of this building. And I walk in here like, what is going on? Like, well, it's the Christmas set. I'm like, yeah, I know, but it's snowing. This is nuts. And I my jaw just opened. And so the producer just looks at me like, oh, it's your first time, huh? Yeah.
I'm in shock.
Yeah.
Man, I love that. Yeah, so you're exposed to that. And this leads us right into, before I get into all the questions, I definitely want to I want to go, let's go back in the Wayback Machine with Jordan for a minute and let's find out. I know we've done a lot of shows, we've asked a lot of questions to other people, but quite frankly, when take us back far enough to get us to where you got to the point where you got into the agency world and the advertising world. What first got you started? What got you excited or got you thinking in that direction?
Yes. So it started back when I was in college. I went to the University of Texas at Arlington, and it's a really well-renowned school for engineering. So I went to college for electrical engineering. That was my major. And, my whole life, everybody told me I was going to be an engineer. Like that was just like, I just parroted that because everybody told me that. So I just immediately went for it. And turns out in electrical engineering, you do a lot of math, a lot of calculations, a lot of worksheets. I wanted to build robots. You don't do that until you're on your PhD. I'm like, wait,
Gotcha.
I got to go to school for
How long?
6 more years before I can build something. So that didn't jive with me because I'm very ADD. I like to get my hands busy. I like to build things. So during that time, I was working with the university. Excuse me. I was working with the university at something called university events. And what it was an advertising position where you could promote the events that they were coming in town. And all I had to do was just give a portfolio, which I didn't have one, but I'm like, sure, I'll have one tomorrow. So I went home and I just photoshopped some things because I took a photography class in high school. So I'm like, okay, I can Photoshop some stuff. Honestly, I got the job because my brother was a really big deal in school. He worked with the UTA volunteers and he was part of the leadership there. And they're like, oh, you're Joel's brother. I'm like, yeah. And it's like, okay, we'll give you a chance. So they just gave me this job and I started experimenting with it. During that time, I was also a part of a fraternity, Sigma Chi, and we had a fundraiser that we would do for Boys and Girls Club, and it was called Fight Night, and it was an amateur boxing contest.
That'd be fun.
Oh my god, so much fun, right? And they're like, "Well, you're the advertising guy, right? So you should run this event." I'm like, I mean, I know how to use Photoshop. If that makes me qualified to run this event, then sure, right? So having to do this event, like it was mostly templatized because we've done it so many years. But the whole point was to raise funds, right? So it's like we need to make money.
Yeah.
Now, being for like charity and all, I realized that I could get a lot of freebies, right? So I called Kiss FM and I'm like, hey, I'm running an event. Do you guys have some airtime for fundraisers for nonprofits? They're like, well, you're not technically a nonprofit, but you're doing this for Boys and Girl Clubs. So yeah, sure.
We're in.
We'll give you airtime. Awesome. So then I secure the Kiss FM name. So then I turn around and I structured sponsorship levels. Like, let's call them after the like weighting categories, right? So we're going to have our heavyweight sponsorship or welterweight sponsorship, featherweight sponsorship. And then with each sponsorship, you get a brand recognition. If you sponsor at the $5,000 range, no, I think it was 2,000. I mean, back then it was a lot of money. I mean, I'm talking about like
tons.
2007 or 2008.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So it was maybe like $2,000 or $3,000 for the heavyweight sponsorships. But we would say your name on air, would put it on the posters. So I use branding. And then I sold a sponsorship package where I would print a shirt because one of the sponsors was a shirt printer. Is like, I'll print a shirt with your business ad on the back of our shirts and we'll wear them on campus because you're not allowed to advertise on campus, but there's no rule against wearing a t-shirt. So I will put your ad on the t-shirt if you give us $5,000. So then after that, you're not allowed to put billboards inside of the university. But there was no rule against putting posters next to each other and making a giant billboard out of it. So then I went for more sponsors. It's like, if you give us money, I will put a billboard with your business on the school. So I bent every rule there was. Actually, I'm pretty proud of this. They had to rewrite the bylaws after me just to patch all the holes that I found. But we ended up raising $25,000.
That's awesome, dude.
Which the most we've ever done before that, I think, was 15,000. So it overshot it by 10 grand. And especially back then, that was a lot of money.
Yeah.
So after that, I just kind of stood back and I look at my engineering class and all the homework that I hadn't done because I'm running all these advertising campaigns and all this fundraiser events. And it just kind of dawned on me. It's like, I think I'm better at this.
Yeah.
So
that's just weird. Isn't it kind of funny how stuff like that kind of sneaks up on you? You never intended it. You didn't plan it. It just all of a sudden you realize you had this great talent. And so let's fast forward a little bit as part of the story before we get into questions. And that is, where did you end up before you jumped into what we're talking about doing today? You represented an agency and you worked on some accounts. Why don't you dive into that just a little bit so we can lead into what these questions are all about? Because This is really cool.
So getting out of school, I switched my major to visual communications, which ironically it's part of the fine arts department. So I have a fine arts degree.
There you go.
That was an interesting conversation with my dad, right? It's like, hey, I want to drop out of the College of Engineering.
Oh, wow.
I want to join
What are you in? Fine arts, yeah.
the fine arts department. My dad,
Woo!
CFO,
Woo!
CPA accountants, like, to his credit, he's just like, dude, as long as you can make money, I don't care what you do.
Yeah, that's right.
So I graduated and I started working for a minor league baseball team. I don't know if the guys over here remember the Fort Worth Cats.
Okay, guys, I'm going to interrupt him. I did not even know this. Go ahead.
So I became the advertising director for the Fort Worth Cats, a fresh out of college kid. They're like, you know Photoshop, you can do everything. It's amazing how many jobs I got because I knew how to use Photoshop.
Yeah.
So I did the sponsorship program, the in-game program, all of the ads that we sent. I managed their social media at the time, which was back when you had to friend request a business.
Sure.
Because there wasn't even business profiles. You just set up a profile with a business name and you were just like an extra friend. That was the Fort Worth Cats.
Exactly.
And then I did the graphics for the screen, which for the techies and the people that get this, like the resolution for that Jumbotron, which was literally the brand Jumbotron, it was 194 pixels by 194 pixels.
Is that all?
That was it. Like a postcard.
Oh my goodness.
I had no idea what I was doing. I'm pretty sure I plagiarized South Park because I did a lot of their graphics and I used a lot of their scenes, and I'm pretty sure I'm not allowed to do that. But that was a really fun run. From then I went to a web design shop in Denton, and not that far, in Denton, and I did websites in WordPress. And at that point, I saw an opening for an art director role at a large agency in Dallas called Morocco for the McDonald's account. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Now, typically when you want to get into those jobs, you got to have a few years behind you.
Yeah, you think?
And a bit of a portfolio. But they wanted a bilingual and bicultural art director. They wanted somebody that understood the Hispanic market and the general market.
Right.
And I'm like, that's my in, because I do get that. I'm totally underqualified for everything else, but if we see a theme over here, I've had a tendency to start doing things that I'm totally not qualified for.
Yep.
So I'm like, this is just yet another unqualified adventure waiting to happen.
Unbelievable.
So I went for I applied. I went for the role and I landed an interview. I met the team and I just connected with them really well. They were doing ads for McDonald's, and they were doing both ads in this was really smart. They were doing ads in English, ads in Spanish for the Hispanic culture, but they were doing also ads in English for the Hispanic culture.
Awesome. Because
they wanted to be culturally relevant.
Mm-hmm.
So the translations were called transcreations because it had to be kind of adapted. And so that basically opened the door for me to be able to work on someone I landed the job and started working at McDonald's, which was a huge leap in my career.
Absolutely.
So I stepped like 4 or 5 years of development just because of the language advantage.
And you got to learn all these very cool, big, huge tools. You got the tool sets. You got the experience working at the high level with old Navy and McDonald's, which is now you're on your own. And this leads us down a series of questions today for you, which I'm intrigued about because I just think that you've thought this out really well. And I'm really interested in sitting back and being the interview guy and just letting you go through your questions. So let's dive in. Let's just get started. So talking a lot about social media. He's going to be talking about a lot of different things today. He may even bring up some insert stuff if he's had time to load it up. We're going to play with it. So it's wide open. But Jordan, I've heard this too. Why do so many small, medium businesses think that social media takes a ton of efforts and doesn't produce very much revenue at all? I bet we'd never heard that marketing before, right?
Right? Who in here is like, I
Uh,
feel seen. I'm exposed.
yeah.
Yeah, it's honestly, the reason is because people look at social media and think that the goal is to post, to get the content out. Like when you hit publish, the goal is achieved. And the reality is that social media is a marketing channel, right? It's a revenue making machine. And for social media to be a revenue machine, first of all, it needs to be a machine. So posting is only one part of the component, but there needs to be a strategy component. And then there needs to be a capture component. Like, where is this leading you to? I think a lot of people think that if they just post about their business or if they just post their offer, then people are going to self select. But that's not really how we work. We need to be convinced. So I think if we spend more time elaborating a story to convince somebody that this is their best option, and then we give them a place to take that decision to, which primarily is a landing page, then you're going to start seeing social media doing a lot more for you, because I would venture right now is just a bit of a chore and you're not really seeing that like revenue impact. But the moment you streamline and focus that communication, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and that makes total sense. So, yeah, when you were talking about the just posting thing, all I was thinking about was I visually saw somebody standing against the wall just throwing stuff to see what sticks to it,
Mhm.
right? And if it stuck, it was great. If it didn't, but there was no way to measure it, right? You just threw it up there. That's cool. That's awesome. So what it and I like this too because this is another area I think that you're really good at, and that is the difference between using social media as a vanity tool versus a revenue machine. This confuses a lot of people because Jordan's getting ready to tell you, I think, really, can social become a revenue machine? Really? Come on.
Yeah. I mean, it's very similar to like we're now coming out of the tail end of the blue links, what is called Google pay per click.
Yeah.
And that was great because you could put money in and then you could
Rank.
search for
You can
stuff.
rank.
Yeah. You rank on Google and then people would buy from you.
Yeah.
And people seem to understand that really clearly. You put money in, you pick the right keywords, and then you hijack traffic. You get purchases, you get bookings, like it drives business. I don't think people think of social media the same way. And I'm not sure why, because it does the same exact thing. You're looking for something, right? Most of the time when we're on social media, we're honest, we're just looking for entertainment. We're trying to pass the time. So we're open, we're receptive. Then you can actually put your message in front of people, which is the same as buying a keyword, right? You're just buying a different,
Yeah.
it's a different buy,
Yeah.
but it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Now, the big difference is that you get to put content that is relevant to your business. And it's a lot stronger than just a blue link that has, basically a sentence. And here you can have a video with your face, with your business that you can talk about it, and people can get to know you. You can, first of all, pop into their feed and be like, oh, this looks interesting.
Mhm.
And then you can constantly re-engage with them so they can get to know you better. Now, the biggest difference is that the way you're like using this content, and there's two separate options, two pathways, right? Like choose your own adventure. You can choose both, but one of them is the organic play, organic social. Like you're not putting paid money on this. You're not paying Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube to put this in front of your audience. You're putting it there and you're letting them discover it. If that's the case, you want to give them entertainment. So it's not about like, hey, look at me, this is what I'm doing. This is, hey, this is what I have to offer. In the paid side, you're giving money to the Facebooks, Instagrams, or Meta, TikTok, YouTube, which is Google. You're giving the money to put your message in front of people. And in there, what you're doing is like, this is the problems I solve. This is what your success could look like. This is how we can avoid those pain points. And you're using that to connect with people, let them know that you hear them, you have a solution for their problem, you have something that can make their lives better, and then you direct them to where they can contact you for that. That is very different than posting something and being like, hey, look at how many likes I got. Or even like, look how many views. Like people get a little hung up on views. It's like, this got 1 million views. It's like, I mean, that's great, but any cat on the internet doing something funny gets 1 million views.
Yeah, right. Good analogy. That's a great analogy, because that is how measurement has been done in the past, right? The guys with the most views got all the kudos, but somebody with less views had more relevant content in their local area because they were answering real questions, right? So let's go down that dirt road a little bit further. So you obviously learn from your background. I'll just bring this up. You obviously learn from your background in advertising, how to shape and think about messaging and customer connection. And I'm watching you do that today. I'm close to you, and I see how you're working some accounts. So tell us a little bit about how that kind of just automatically surfaces when you're looking at an account, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's, I picked this up. I had suspicions about this. I first started using social media when I was working the McDonald's account. That's when Twitter came out. Right, that's how old I am. This thing called Twitter comes out, and then McDonald's is like, "Hey, we want to try this Twitter thing. Can you guys make some content for us?" And at the time, I was making broadcast television commercials. This is for those of you that are too young to remember this. We used to watch television on the large screens. There was no phones that could play anything. We didn't have Netflix, no streaming. It was all through cable television. And you could not skip the commercials.
Oh.
It was like the unskippable 6-second commercials on YouTube.
Oh my God.
But there was no button, and you had to wait for about 4 or 5 minutes of it. And they were broken into 30-second blocks. And they put one after another, after another, after another. So the only way to skip it was to go pee. That was it. You just had to sit through it. That's the way like things used to run. That's the way we used to think. So we used to think that we were good at creating engaging content. The truth was you didn't have a choice.
Exactly.
Along comes social media, and I'm looking at this at Twitter, and I'm looking at Facebook, and I'm like, wait, you can tell me how long of this stuff they watched? Yeah. You can tell me if they clicked on it? Yep. You can tell me if they shared it? Yeah.
Yeah.
We give them a link, and you tell me they went to the page? Yes.
Yeah.
And I can actually tell you what they did in the page.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Yes. And I can actually tell you what they did after, what other pages they went into, and if they came back in here, and if they eventually purchased. And I can even tell you if they're like checking us out again on the social media. Eventually, the later half of that became illegal. So now we can't do that anymore. At that time, I could tell everything.
Right.
But that gave me a very important insight into the future.
Yeah.
Your messaging became optional. Like there was no captive audience anymore because you had control on the phone. And and then you could just see it, right? Like I came up with some really, I thought, great ideas. We did one where the Maghreb was coming, and it's this weird like thing coming in. So we're like, the Maghreb is coming. So we had this animation of like Maghrebs migrating, and we like added like wings to them. They were like flapping around. This like weird sandwich just like flipping in as like Maghreb is coming, and there's like jumping out of water like salmon trying to swim upstream. I mean, it was bizarre. And we thought it was going to be this amazing, like this kind of stuff on TV wins the awards, and we do this. Nobody watched it. Nobody cared. Nobody clicked on it. I'm like, but that was clever. Like, what in the world? And then we put a what they call a cinematograph, when you have a still but the background is kind of moving, and we just put a breakfast muffin with like the traffic going down, with a line that said slow down and smell the muffins. That's it. I'm like, all right, let's try that. And man, that thing got so much engagement. It got shared. It just blew up. I'm like, okay, what you make matters. And it's not just how clever you think you are. It's how much it resonates with that audience. So that was at the very, I mean, this was in the early like 2010s.
Yeah.
And then, moving forward, like for me, it's always been about refining that all the way down to when I was working with Old Navy, we were testing different messaging. And one of the things that we were testing with was like, well, what's better for sales if we show the entire product run so everybody can, and it's funny how this happens a lot. People can self-select. We make hoodies in every single color. Here it is. We've shown it on social, and I'm looking at this as like, this looks more like a texture than a product because there's so much of it, because Old Navy has so much inventory.
Right.
I'm like, what happens if instead we just test a single outfit with one color? If that works, we could just make, we can make every single one of those colors. We could just make it, but with its own outfit. It's more work, but maybe it works better. So we tested out and we threw it out there. And for every click that we got on the like big layout, we got 4 on the individual ones. We tried it time and time again, and we realized like, no, that's, running single outfit focused content outperformed the variety one like 4-1. And when you're talking about Old Navy, like money, like we're talking, I mean, that made a 4 times return on media spend. And we'd normally spend like hundreds of thousands of dollars on this. So imagine you're running, $20,000 in this campaign. And suddenly, because you changed your picture, now you generated 4 times the results of that.
Yeah.
You basically got $80,000 worth of media for 20,000.
Yeah.
By upgrading creative.
Yeah.
So when I figured that out, I'm like, okay, I'm onto something. This is fundamentally different. And it's to a degree levels the playing field, because if you can put out better creative, I don't care how much money you're going to throw at it. I can outspend you by spending less money.
Yes. Yeah. And so let's go back a minute on that, because I'm thinking back now, and I remember when social media started kicking in a little bit. I remember the big companies like that were running TV commercials on cable, right? And I started seeing those same commercials on the YouTubes and some of the social platforms that had video at the time, and YouTube was mainly that. They were still running the same TV commercials that they were running on TV. They were running on social, and you're right, they did not work. They worked on TV, but they didn't work because they were captive audience, right? So, and I think what's intriguing is just how much social to you just mentioned it, and I'll let you ad lib. I want to go a little bit deeper in that, is how that drives better connection, right? So because you're personalizing it, is that a good way to say that?
Yes. Now I want to be clear, because personalization is tough, right? Like, how are you going to
It is
personalize
hard.
to
Yeah.
every
Well,
individual?
let's just say it's more. Let's just say it's directed more at a real audience that has choices that you're trying to find, right? That
Oh, and you're right
tapping
about
into.
you're right about the personalization, but I do want to kind of give the secret sauce on the whole
Sure.
personalization. It's important to personalize everything. It's how we like things. You as a business trying to personalize to every single individual is going to be super, super tough. We
Yeah.
try to do that even with Old Navy budget.
Yeah.
No way. Couldn't do that. What you got to do is personalize it to your ideal customer. If you personalize it to, like, you want to personalize it to one person. That is the biggest difference. If you make it so it resonates with one person who is your ideal client, that person actually exists repeatedly and echoes. And there's more of them that you realize. So if you can tap into that person actually like represents thousands of people that think in that manner. That kind of personalization makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I bet. Makes sense. Makes sense. All right. So I want to dive into this a little bit. So what did you start seeing early in social media? And this is somewhat what you covered, but convinced you this medium had real business power? Because I think it's interesting you even are asking this question, because did that mean that at some point you weren't sure because of your background that social media didn't have real business power, or you just noticed from how people were posting that it didn't appeal to you, so you had that conceived perception of it, right? So
Mhm.
when did it become in your mind, hey, this is a real place, this has real business power?
It was a combination of, I think, two things. One of them, as I mentioned earlier, is the metrics. This is a what you would call a quick feedback loop. And if you study the way we learn and the human brain works, quick feedback loops accelerate your learning exponentially.
Ah,
Now, it sounds super sciencey and techy and, all this stuff, but honestly, the jocks figure this out first because when you train in any kind of sport, you watch tape. Like any athlete always gets metrics, it gets that recorded, and it is that methodology that makes them better.
mhm.
When they introduce this to social media, it dawned on me that now a creative or an artist could become a creative athlete because now we can create and iterate, but you get essentially graded on how well this did, which this wasn't available before. And it still amazes me that people don't track this even today. Like they miss this a lot. If you look at the right metrics, you can learn a lot about whether what you did worked or not.
Yeah.
That was what really opened my eyes to how this was a real business tool. The second was when they introduced the ability to save and share content. Because I don't know if you guys remember this. Again, if you're old enough to remember, we used to do these things called email chains, where somebody would find something funny and they would make an email and it would send it to this massive list. And then you get added to it and you get this another massive list. And there was this email chains that just ran around, and some of them were funny, some of them were very inspirational, some of them were scammy. Like they were all the degrees of things. This was our first like crude version of social media. Like it started there. That's how we started sharing content. It was through
Yeah.
email chains.
Yeah.
When they introduced that to these channels, people started sharing information, and it surprised me how much people were sharing commercial content.
Oh, yeah.
But it was never the commercial production. It was never the like fully polished commercial or anything like that.
No,
It was
it was
typically
just
like,
it's just information, right? Just good, solid information, right, Jordan?
well, I noticed it did one thing. All of them had one thing in common because I was trying to crack this. Like, why is this working? I was trying to crack it because I was failing miserably. I've won awards. I've been to I've gotten best of shows. Like I've gotten trophies. My creativity in the creative world has been touted as, innovative and I don't know, creativity. I don't know what they call it, but I used to think I was good. And then they roll this thing out and I keep striking out and I'm sucking. Like I'm putting all this stuff.
Are
They gave me money. I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, like paying illustrators, photographers, things to try to make this work. And it's just failing. And I'm like, why?
Jordan,
This thing.
do you remember this?
Yes.
but that's good because that means that you started investigating it. You just brought back old memories to me. I remember the days of bulletin boards,
Yeah.
online bulletin boards. That's where we posted to get leads and contacts and whatever. So you just brought back a big, huge memory for me. That is cool. So keep going with your thoughts. You were at the point where I was failing. I had awards. I was
So I looked at
frustrated.
why this content was working because you think it was like just organic content, but I noticed that some of it was branded and some of it wasn't. But everything, like all of them had something in common. And it finally dawned on me is like they are giving something. When you watch this content, you receive something. Sometimes it was advice, sometimes it was just humor, sometimes it was information, sometimes it was just pretty, like it was just beautiful. Sometimes it was so god awful that it was share worthy.
Yeah.
But you always got an emotional response for it. So it gave you an emotion. And I'm like, that's it. Like it needs to do something to the viewers. So then it kind of changed the seats. Whereas before, I would force you to like watch my creative prowess. Now I'm like, Now I got to please you. I
Right.
got to get to understand you better. And then those two, when you put them together, drive massive traffic, engagement, views. Like it just blows everything out of the water when you get those aligned properly. And nothing else before social media and ever since can do the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that real business power discovery, um, based on your experience, probably gives you a pretty quick clue on the front end when you're working with a client, right? You're thinking that way already. So, you're thinking into those terms instead of just thinking, well, we got to brand them. Well, that's important too, but we also got to figure out the measurement and all that, which leads to this, because I even made a comment on this yesterday, and I'm not going to comment now. I'm going to let you dive into it. But cleverness versus connection. What's the
Yes.
most of the two? What would you prefer?
Oh, connection. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And here's why. We talked about how content that actually gets shared and saved and like has that distribution. We call it nowadays viral, but really anything that actually gets embraced by an audience, it gives you something. So something clever gives you something. You think, oh, that was funny. That was great. But if you don't connect it to your brand, if you don't connect it to your service, it misses the mark. And then you are promoting the content itself. You're not promoting your service, your brand, nothing that is part of what you're building. So you could be really witty and come up with some really funny things, right? And I see that a lot right now with AI. Everybody is testing the new AI tools. They're really fun to play with, and you can do awesome stuff. And I see people doing like really, really cool things. But the problem is
They're not connecting it.
I don't get how that ties to your business.
Right. Right. And I know yesterday you named some examples. We don't want to do that here because we don't want to get in trouble for it. But there are certain commercials out there that when you ask us, and when you asked this question yesterday in the network group, you brought up the example of the ad, and then you ask everybody in the room, what's the name of the company? And only 3 of the 15 people had a clue. And this is an ongoing huge advertising program that's nationwide. So there's your perfect example, right?
Oh yeah. They're incredible. Like a lot of the Super Bowl commercials, for example, are another great one for this, because I mean, Super Bowl commercials are the funniest of the funniest. Like they're phenomenal. But half of the time you don't remember who they were for. It was funny, but you don't remember the brand, and that just misses the mark. And
Yeah.
I've realized that if you take that creative barrier way down, you're like, you don't have to be a genius, just be helpful. And you tie that helpfulness to your business, it makes all the difference.
Yeah.
I give you a good example, and I do have permission to share this with y'all. Is
Good.
One of my clients is Play Park MTX. It's an indoor playground. And all these smaller companies do, especially in the area, like we're all repurposing creative content that we see other places. Like we find these tropes that everybody does, like the business owner waving outside of the business saying, or marketing girl ran out of ideas, please come in. Like that's hilarious. But we've been doing that for the past 2 years, right? That is
right.
the original idea. So doing things like that are like, we have those, they're almost like templates that you could do that are clever. But the trick here is, if you're going to use stuff like that, is tie it to your business. You could go outside and wave. Everybody's doing it. But for example, with Play Park, what we decided to do was throw things at the owner's face. Doug, the trend was throwing an Amazon box. So we did that, but then we have giant balls in the park. So we've been throwing those as well. And we realized through testing that if we throw something at him, cut in between, he tells you something helpful about the park, and then he gets pegged in the face. People love it. Oh my goodness. Everybody clicked on the link to get more information just because they were so grateful about
right.
payoff. Right. So there is good ways to go about it. I've seen another one with somebody just got punched in the face. And then on the captions, they just talked about like, don't get punched in the face and do this instead. And I've seen so many people using that. I'm like, I don't tie it. Like to the point where like I couldn't even tell you how many people have already done that because I don't
Right.
remember what the service was because it was so like superimposed.
So I know you have some examples of that you want to probably put up later. So let's dive further. Do you want to show one now, or do you want to wait and show one in the next couple of questions? Because we're getting toward where you can pull that up, right?
Yeah, actually, I'll give you an example of Play Park. A little
All right, in a little bit. Okay.
example. No, I'll give it to you right now because we're talking
Okay.
about that. Just again leveraging AI to enhance the content. And here we're
Bring
just
it
talking
on.
about. Yeah, well, I'll play it for you.
Yeah.
Parents' night off will have you feeling like this.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Dog is not a professional dancer. That was AI.
Yeah, and what I liked about it is he's doing it in the play park in front of the slide boards, and then you finish it out by leaving the visual, fading out to the visual of the actual name of the park to set the brand, and it shows like a grown adult having like kid fun.
Yep.
That's connection. There's clever and connection, but about connection, right? It's a little bit of both, but it leads to the brand. That's awesome.
Again, like you don't have to be super witty. You just have to like systematically connect and make sure that it's always building your brand, directing people where to go, augmenting the perception and awareness of your business.
Yeah, I mean, anybody that sees this and watches over is going to understand exactly where he's at, and what he's doing. And the little music chime going with it's pretty cool too. You kind of hear it, but you don't hear it. It's just part of it, right? That's really cool. All right, so I want to jump into this. So the core parts of we talked about that you discovered, and you've been convincing people now that social media is a revenue machine. I agree with that. But what are the core parts of that social media revenue machine? Are you getting ready to tell us some inside information?
Oh
here?
yes, I will tell you how the sausage is made. Like it's
okay.
Just
hire me, right? Just hire me.
Yes. And I mean, if you want to do it yourself, go for it too. It's not hard. It really is not hard. Everybody can do it. All I've done, I didn't make this up. I didn't invent this. All I've done is I've just systematically looked at what works and what doesn't, and I've removed everything that doesn't. So it just brings it to a core. Search was a big part of this initially, but then AI came and killed it. Right? So then it's like, well, that gets cut off.
Yeah.
So the social media revenue machine is essentially the Blue Links 2.0. What you used to pay-per-click, it's essentially the same thing, but I'm adding brand recognition, brand awareness, and I'm using video.
Yeah.
So Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, to some degree, Twitter and Blue Sky as well. They all support video. And when you run video ads, you get the luxury to select audiences, send it to people outside of your network to tap new audiences.
Absolutely.
So if you're a well-established brand or you're a starting business, or even if you're a well-established brand with a starting social media account, when you run paid ads, it sort of like equalizes the playing field. Now, what I mentioned earlier is that better creative makes media money work better for you.
Right.
So this social media revenue machine is just about honing in on your company's messaging. Let's figure out your brand voice, your values, what makes you special. Let's figure that out. And actually, I'm very tactical when it comes to honestly, I think I'm just lazy. So I like to do things once and use them multiple times. So this goes into the discovery phase, which I used to have sit down interviews and workshops so we could figure all this out. Now I just sit down people on a video podcast. We record a podcast interview and I just interview you about your business, why you started it, who is this for? who are you defending? Who are you representing? What are you creating that is going to be for that person? What is your gift to the world through this business? We get all that throughout the interview, but we also get content and we capture it on camera. And the beauty of it is that is very authentic content because it is the founder answering the questions that matter to people. I do that for two reasons. One, content. Two, more content. Three, I get to sample your voice in that podcast. I then take that sample voice and then I create an AI clone of that voice. So then when we start running ads, we can version them without you having to come back in the studio and do it. We then schedule a production to actually showcase whatever product or service you're offering because we want to show it. So we bring the team out, we bring lights, cameras, microphones, and then we shoot the content that we're going to promote. While we're at it too, we photograph it in very specific ways to build a model, AI model that is trained to duplicate that. I work with founder-led businesses, so I photograph the founders 150 times, 150 different ways, and I train something that is called a LoRa model that just creates you in a digital version, but it's actually able to do it repeatedly. This is like we did with the Sora when we did our video, except it can be right every time. Once we create all that, then we just start creating messages on social media that we pay through, paid ads. And then we test. Do people like this one? Do they like this one better? Do they like it when you talk about the product? Do they like it better when you talk about why you created that product? Do they like testimonials better? Do they like seeing it in action? Do they like before and afters? There's a million different ways. And we start testing them first as an awareness tool to get to know you. Then as a consideration tool, like, hey, you should really consider using our services. Because this is social media, I can retarget you. So I can make sure that I know when I'm engaging you the first time, the second, the third, the fourth. Then I give you the option. Hey, you've seen us a bunch of times. Do you just want to check the landing page? I create a landing page for the client that captures the that audience, and it expresses the value of this product in the same way all the content we'll be putting in. So there's this, it reads the same to people. That really takes the people that are interested in your product to a place where they can acquire it. And after enough consideration time, which every time you get a video that you're interested in, you're like, thinking about it. That's sounding pretty good. And then eventually you make a decision like, yeah, I want this, or no, this is not for me. The people that do want it, after we retarget us 6 or 7 times, they're gonna be like, you know what? I want this. They'll go to your landing page and they'll purchase, they'll book, they'll take the action that you're looking for. And meanwhile, I'm having this landing page, which is hosted on your website, talking to the social media channels. So we can make sure that the people that went there and didn't purchase, if they showed interest in it by, maybe they spent a minute on that page. If they spent a minute of reading all your stuff, they're obviously interested.
Absolutely.
Maybe they saved your post. Maybe they shared it. Maybe they watched it a few times. To re-engage those people. So you keep picking up the people that you dropped in a systematic way. And then you're always driving people. And the beauty of it is after we do the initial setup, which the initial setup takes 3 months, we start with the production and then we start running media. It's $5,000 a month for the first 3 months. And then we go into a retainer, which is $3,500. And then that way it just allows us to constantly refresh the creative. So you're never saying the same message twice. Right. You're always re-engaging. But because we have AI, we have your voice, we have an ability to put you in different locations, we can test just about anything we want,
right,
to make sure that we connect with people
at a very low cost, because you're not having to go through post-production, pre-production constantly. You just interchanging the message from all the content you produce, which is brilliant, right?
Well, it's what you get to do whenever you trim all the fat, right? Like we trim everything that didn't work.
And you just showed Doug dancing. That's a offshoot of that. So this sounds like almost like I'm going to call that the customer journey, right? And the old term for this was sales funnel. Boo. I love the aspect that you're bringing the consumer through the journey with you, with follow up, with I know where the traffic's coming from. I know the sources. I know who's coming on, what they're doing. I can follow up with that. I mean, it's just a perfect, easy way, in my opinion. Once you get through all the production side, your fee and get everything set up, then it becomes just test and play to you to that customer.
Oh yeah.
Shakes hands with you.
And what I love about it is the longer you run it, the better it works.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Because you're populating and getting seen more and more, which then brings people into the fold, right? So, you look at those mushroom coffee ads, right? I'm just going to say it. They
Mhm.
are saturating the web with these ongoing advertisements on Facebook, and you can't miss it.
Mhm.
And so they know I've tapped into it. So guess what? They present me all the freaking time.
Oh yeah.
So that's the other ability, right, on this. So this is what you're talking about when you say I'm making a revenue machine, but you're also reducing the cost of wasted time, wasted money, wasted work, which I
Yes.
think is important to mention.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah.
Actually, that leads directly into our next question.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was trying to transition into it, but yeah, the biggest mistakes business make when they're trying to market themselves online. Aha.
Yes. Yeah, and the biggest mistakes they make is they spend too much money on the wrong things. They
Like,
it's easy to want to throw money.
hold on. They spend money on what?
They spend too much money in the wrong things. Yes. It feels like that. And most importantly is they spend money at the wrong time. I know so many
Yeah.
people that have, kind of told me about their experience with particularly social. And it's like, I don't know. I gave Facebook like $1,000 to promote this post and nothing happened. I'm like, well,
Really?
yeah. And so they're probably going to spend too much money on media and not enough on creative.
Yeah.
And as we talked about, everybody can spend money on media. Like it's so easy. You just give a credit card, tell it how much you're going to spend, it'll spend it. No matter what, it will spend it. It's built to spend your money. But the creative is really what's going to make that work for you.
Yeah.
And nobody's got a magic ball. And trust me, if you think you're good at creative, you're not.
Yeah.
I long stopped claiming myself as being a professional creative. Like it doesn't like I don't even factor that in. Like I don't even consider myself too much of a creative person in the standard way.
Right.
I just cheat, right? Like what I tell people what I do, and I think business owners should embrace this mentality so they avoid stumbling in the marketing road is imagine that you're going to the horse races and you're going to cheat your way to winning the bet. You want to run all the horses a few times just against each other. It's like, let me run that race and I'm going to put $1 and let me see who wins. And you're going to run that race like 3 or 4 or 5 times until you see the top 3 horses that come in at the top of the time. Then you're like, all right, now I'm ready to bet $1,000. And I'm going to bet $1,000 on this horse because he came in first most of the times. Then I'm going to bet like 600 on this one because he came second most, and about 400 on this one because he came third.
Right.
Then you're going to place your bet and you're going to win every time.
Yeah.
But it's because you ran it before. So business owners out there, like if you're going to do your own marketing, first of all, know that you need to do it a lot of times. Be very conservative with your approach at the beginning because it's learning money. It's money that, if you want to look at it this way, it's money that you're going to throw away. It's not thrown away because it's tuition. It really what it is tuition money. So you can learn what works and what doesn't. Once you get the degree, because you spend enough paid test runs, now you've graduated to using real money. Now you can actually put big investments because now you know you're going to get a return. Yeah. If you're putting money in something and you don't have a certain degree of certainty that it's going to work the way you want it to, you're risking a lot.
Yeah,
you should always build your brand equity. No, it doesn't matter what. Yeah. Even if you don't get the sales that you want, it should build your brand equity because then people will know your business more and that will help you in the long run. And then make sure that you have everything in place so you can collect that and turn it into revenue. Otherwise, the touted return ROI, it's never going to get there.
Yeah. Yeah. And that That's a good analogy, Jordan, because that's exactly the way it works. you know, I mean, the analogy is perfect, and I would go on to say that a lot of people that are jumping in trying to make a living on social, meaning they're trying to post for themselves, throw all their eggs in one basket without thinking through, and then they spend a lot of money and they get frustrated and mad, right? So
Yeah, I
what
mean,
that's
I'd be mad if I
awesome.
spent $1,000. I got
Well,
nothing for
that's
it.
what I'm saying. I mean, I remember used to seeing ads on social media that had you pay to get likes on your page.
Yeah. Good for
Really sharp,
you. Yeah.
really sharp. If you're doing that, I'm really sorry. All right, so here we go. All right, so when changes, let's see, what changes when a business finally gets its message and content strategy aligned? I guess what you're wanting to know is what changes in that business once that message and content strategy becomes fully aligned, working. You just went through your scenario where you know what horse is going to win,
Yeah.
right? Or what finish second or third because you've done your testing. What do you see happening? What starts to happen? Give me a visual.
The visual is you start thinking as a business owner and you leverage social media as a marketing channel. And how this happens, because when I see it actually click, is you're getting ready to either like, if you have a business that is driven by seasonality or it's a service driven one, like whatever it is, you start now proactively planning content for the pushes that you're going to make.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to run out, like if you're a med spa, and you brought in one of those infrared machines that do all this awesome stuff. Like as you're getting ready to make that purchase, you're already thinking about
Sure.
how to tell the story to start promoting this. You start thinking about distribution of your business's new acquisition to bring in that awareness and get that booked. You start thinking ahead of like, how can I communicate? Because now you know that this communication will equal, butts and seats, whatever it is. Like you start connecting those dots and you think about it forwards instead of like, oh my God, what do we need to do this month? Like we need a post. Like what should we post? Like if you're thinking what should you post, you're not thinking about it like a business owner.
Yeah, agreed. That makes total sense. So, who is your ideal client, man?
For me specifically, after I've done this, I'm starting my third year now. Doing
Are
this.
you really?
Yeah, it's insane. Like it is wild.
Are you kidding me?
No.
We met 3 years ago.
2
Pretty
years.
much. 2 months.
Yeah, 2 and some change because we met before we started the podcast. So
yeah, that's cool. That's good. 3 years. Awesome.
3 years, yes. And so now I know that I can help businesses that have established business SMBs. Really, what I've noticed is businesses that are making a revenue between 3 million and 10 million have a really good foundation, but they're not using the tools they should. They have the budget for it.
Perfect.
They have the ability to develop this system. And the thing is, it works really well with your own departments. If you have somebody that handles social already, that's phenomenal, because I'm not going to be doing your social organic post. Hiring somebody to do your organic social is really expensive. And I don't recommend people do that. You should always take that in-house because the cost you're going to pay for that exceeds the returns you're going to get from purely organic.
I agree.
But if you have somebody that is handling that, sending your emails, keeping tabs on the CRM, you have a set up business, you have the capability to add in a social media revenue machine as one more avenue for you to get your customers, bookings, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Those businesses, oh God, they just blow up because you have the resources. All you need is the guidance and somebody that actually, quite frankly, gives a damn about your business. And it's just not going to let you self-diagnose what you need. It's not just going to be like, oh, I need a new website. Sure. Let me give you a new website. It's like, no, you don't need a new website. You need to take people to your current website. That's what's not working. That is the sweet spot, because then all we're doing is we're taking what it's already making you great. We're taking what makes you great. We're putting it in front of the people that want to do business with you, and we're giving them a dedicated place to engage. You already have a well set up system. So once they engage with you, you can take over there, and all it is just increasing your revenue because you have one more arm. If you're doing word of mouth, if you're doing networking events, and you were doing SEO and pay per click, SEO and pay per click are dropping. You've felt it. It's time to start a social revenue angle because it will pick up what you're losing from the traditional paths that now, because of AI, have been disrupted.
Yeah. Wow. So I love the fact that established is an ideal client in that 3 to 10 million range, where they've got the budget, but they also have they can grow from there because they've already proven that they can do business well based on their revenue, right? So that's a perfect client for you. So if anybody's listening, and they are, and they will, knows that you have a great but they have a great business, but marketing, and they don't know what to do. And I can tell you probably about 5 accounts right now that I see growing like a weed, that I have preached, evangelized, kicked around, been mad, been frustrated, thrown bad emails at them, and said, you got to start thinking about your business.
Yes.
The law of expansion is going to kill you.
Yeah.
Without thought and without the right proper channels, and you're right. A lot of them, Jordan, and you said this earlier and commented on this, is that they think that posting wins the world, but they don't understand that that's not marketing. It's a little bit of marketing, but it's not marketing.
Yeah. It's one piece of the whole puzzle, but you cannot tell the whole picture from one piece.
Yeah. So you know what? I've seen Jordan in action. You guys need to hire him. He does some incredible stuff. He's got a good team surrounding him now that he can utilize in accounts, which is awesome. And he's making a difference in accounts that I know of. And it's a kudos to him, because they are going to go places because they have him in their loop. And that's that's a compliment to you. I'm seeing it. I love it. And I love your enthusiasm for what you do. It's so, if anybody listens to this, they're going to see how obvious it is Jordan cares about clients. He does. And he cares about success, and he cares about, seeing it through and making it work, to the point where he'll become obsessed with making sure it works. That's how he is. And I know that. So congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Best way to contact you, I don't think I have your website here. I'll put it in the description, but why don't you
you can. My website is
why don't you go in, go into
media.
Grab a banner,
Mhm.
go up there and grab a banner and put it in, and create a banner at the bottom and put it in for us. Sorry, I should have put it in there. I forgot, Jordan. That's my bad. And this will give you a snapshot of what he's doing, but you got to meet with him. You just got to have Jordan come sit down with you. He'll bring his big, tall water drink with him. There you go. So go check him out on his website, please.
You can also shoot me an email.
Yep, there's his email.
At
And
Mercurious.
I'm going to post that. I'm going to post the email and the website in the description on the YouTube archive, so you know that. And then
I'm in the socials too, so you can hit me up on there.
And you'll be able to create your own TED shorts. You can charge yourself $300.
Yeah, I think I will. I've seen what that dude does with those shorts, and they're good.
Yeah, they are. They are. They work. And now you have your. I'll be anxious to see what you pull out of that. You might come back with some other creative stuff out of this too. So,
yeah.
Hey, let's do.
I do want to answer your question. This last one.
Oh, did I ask one? Okay.
I do have a quick answer for this, which is not often, but if you're listening and you have a great business, but you have weak marketing, what should you do next?
Yeah.
Well, figure out who's doing your marketing. Maybe you're doing it in-house, or maybe you have an agency doing it for you.
Right.
Check if they're checking your revenue. Like any marketer that is worth their salt should be asking you for your revenue.
Yeah.
If they're not, they are literally running blind, and they're running metrics on cost per click, which that tells you nothing.
Yeah.
Or, likes, views, even landing page visits. If you're not tracking the revenue, like, we need to know how much is it doing in the bottom line, because it is impossible to diagnose what's broken if I cannot tell if this actually made you money. So if they're not asking for your revenue numbers, they're not tracking the right things, you have a problem.
Yeah. So
just ask that.
man, you just brought me to a story. So on Google Business Profiles, they show you in performance monthly how many people took an action on your page, what those actions were, and then they show you how many people viewed your profile. So where I stun my clients is I show them how many people viewed the profile, but I show them percentage of people that they missed. And I go back and drill down to how much does it charge for your service. So let's add up here what we missed, even if it's another 10%.
Yeah.
How do we reach that next 10 or 15%? Are you doing everything outside of Google that needs to connect the dots? Facebook, TikTok, whatever your audience is. You can pull a lot of things out of simple little things. But you're right. I mean, the revenue thing is you got to convince people that there's gaps, right? And if you can show a real gap, and that's the way it's going today. So I agree with you 100%, Jordan. This has been an awesome conversation, dude. I'm so pumped about where you're going with this, and the fact that I can sit next to you a lot of times and say, how'd you do that? And then you tell me is really cool. So
I also made a little 30-second.
I want you to play it. It's up there. Go ahead and play it, because at this point, this is good conversation. Please knock it out. It's right there.
It's little parting words of advice to get us all encouraged, because I think we're in the future, and I love this.
Send it on.
For most of history, the power to speak broadly belonged to the few, empires, corporations. Now, for the first time, the instruments of reach live in the hands of ordinary people. A camera sits in your pocket. A microphone is within reach. Social platforms let you speak across the world in an instant. AI tools now help us shape thought, sharpen language, and give form to ideas that might otherwise have remained trapped inside us.
Yep. There you go. It's true. When's the last time that I used to laugh at people back in the older days when we got cell phones and they got good enough to take pretty good video. I used to tell people, your business is a publishing company, you just don't know it yet.
Yep.
So that's cool. All right, buddy. Hello, everybody. Welcome and thank you for listening to Mansfield Buzz. We'll be back next week with Tom Stevenson. He's going to talk about the American Legions. There's a big event coming up. It really needs to be supported, and we're going to help him. We're going to donate a broadcast to him live, and then we're going to give him some archive stuff so he can start sharing it out to help him out right now. So we'll be back with that next Thursday. Then the week after, we're going to have Sand Rays, and we're going to finish up with Johnny with the Trinity River inspections, and then we're on down the road to think into where Jordan and I want to go with the next round of where we're going to go for our podcast. So y'all have a good day. We'll see you next Thursday at 2 p.m. right here live. Bye.
Bye, y'all.